Beautiful marinated, seasoned walleye fillets, cooked directly on the grill until flaky and perfect. Red pickled cabbage, Scallion Crema Sauce, onion, cilantro, creating what I'm declaring to be the best fish tacos I've ever made. Not long ago, a good buddy of mine was generous enough to share some of his walleye fillets with me that were caught right here in the beautiful state of Michigan. And they've been sitting in my freezer since then because I've been trying to think of a good idea for what to do with them. Sure, I could just throw them in a skillet. I could even deep fry them. But I haven't had a good fish taco in a while, and I thought that would be the perfect way to use these beautiful Great Lakes walleye. So we're going to get right into it and go through every step of making our marinade and our sauce and the pickled cabbage and then putting the whole thing together. The first thing I need to do is make my pickled cabbage, and I actually did this part yesterday because it needs some time to sit and I wanted it to be ready for today. This is a super simple quick pickle, and I'll start by making my brine. Into a small pan goes some water, some white vinegar, a little red vinegar, sugar, and kosher salt. I'll stir this up and heat it up to a simmer on the stove just until all the sugar and salt has dissolved. In the meantime, I'll slice my red cabbage. Basically, I want short strips that are about as thin as utterly possible. Last time I used my mandolin for slicing cabbage, I shortened the length of my thumb by a slight amount, so I'm just going to be using my knife this time. I'll take care to shave off the thinnest slices I can get, and I need enough shredded cabbage to fill up a quart mason jar, which for this head of cabbage was about half of it. And now all that sliced cabbage is just going into my quart jar. I'll pack it in there pretty tightly and fill it just about all the way to the top. Then in goes my brine, making sure to fill the jar enough to cover all the cabbage. Now I'll just let this cool down to room temperature on the counter, at which time I'll throw on a lid and stick this in the fridge until tomorrow. Now to make what I guess I'll call the marinade. Though it's not exactly a marinade so much as a seasoned oil I'll brush on the fillets. Some kosher salt, ancho chili powder, cumin, paprika, about 3 dashes of hot sauce, and some olive oil, I guess around 3 tablespoons. Stir it all together, and it's ready for our fish, which we are finally ready for. Here are 3 very pretty walleye fillets, and the first thing I'll do is pat them pretty dry with some paper towel. And now to just start brushing on that marinade. I'm not going to be soaking the fish in this mixture for any particularly long amount of time, which is why I hesitate to call it a marinade, but in any case, I'll thoroughly coat all sides of each fillet, and they're ready for the grill. But before I start grilling this fish, I'm going to make my sauce for these tacos. This is a spin on a pretty standard crema sauce, in which I'm incorporating some fresh scallions. My cilantro lime sauce would be great here, but I wanted to try something different, and it ended up being very tasty. So after roughly chopping up a couple green onions, I'll throw them into this cup, followed by some mayonnaise, then some sour cream, garlic powder, a pinch of kosher salt, a pinch of black pepper, the juice from half a lime, and a couple dashes of hot sauce. Now I'll just go at it with the immersion blender until everything is fully incorporated and those scallions are completely pureed. Those liquefied green onions ended up making my sauce a little thinner than I wanted, so I added in some more sour cream to tighten up the consistency just a bit. Now my sauce is looking good, so I'll transfer it into a squeezy bottle and into the fridge it goes until I'm ready for it. It's finally grilling time. I used to be scared of grilling fish directly on the grill grates until I learned how to do it right. It's all about preventing stickage and risking tearing apart the fish. First, clean grates are vital, so I'll give them a good cleaning with my wire brush scrubber. Second, oil the grates. Wiping down the grates with vegetable oil will not only help prevent sticking, but will also assuage any concerns over any loose pieces from the wire brush getting into the food. Third, make sure your grill is pretty hot. I've had the burners turned on about medium for a while, and my grates are now quite hot, so I'm ready to lay down those fillets and start cooking. I'll leave them alone for about 3 full minutes before touching anything, at which time I'll give the tops another quick coat of the marinade oil mixture, and then as gently as possible, turn over each fillet. And after about another 3 minutes, this fish is ready to come off. Taking care with my flipper to be delicate with the fish, I'll remove them from the grill. And one of them still ended up breaking in half, but it wasn't due to stickage, just a weak point in the structural integrity of that fillet, I guess. And just before I'm ready to start building my tacos, I'll throw my tortillas on the grill to give them a quick toast. It's finally taco time. Onto my toasted tortilla, I'll start with a bed of that pickled red cabbage. And atop it, I'll nestle one of my beautiful grilled walleye fillets. I think some chopped raw white onion fits perfectly into this ensemble. And of course, a generous drizzle of my Scallion Crema sauce. Finally, I'll finish with some chopped cilantro and a sprinkling of some grated cotija cheese that I had left over from my esquites video. And that looks like a pretty delicious fish taco to me. Though admittedly, I ended up adding a little bit more of the red cabbage, mainly to make my thumbnail photos look more colorful and pretty. In any case, it's time to dig in. So there you have it. If that doesn't look like a beautiful fish taco to you, then I guess I don't know what to say. If you've never tried grilling fish directly on the grill grates, it's 100% doable. Just make sure that your grates are very clean and oiled, and make sure that you very well oil the fish itself, either with a marinade like mine or just some olive oil by itself. Nice hot grill, don't mess with the fish until you know it's ready to flip and will move freely off of the grate, and why not use a meat thermometer so you can be sure that you don't way overcook it. Anyway, as always, I'll put a link in the video description below to the full recipe for these walleye tacos to show you how I made everything that I showed here today. And be sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date with all our latest stuff, including future food and wild game cooking videos. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I'm John, and this is Great Lakes Country.